Here we go. You're listening to Squatch Talks Podcast. Real stories and real encounters told by real researchers. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Squatch Talks Podcast. And tonight, we have a guest who really needs no introduction. In the Bigfoot community, pretty much everybody knows who Matt Moneymaker is. So welcome, Matt.
Well, thank you very much. And I think a lot of people are starting to know who you are now, too.
Hey, I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's usually a good thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Hey, we're just hoping that the folks listening are enjoying our talks and, the people we've brought on. And I think we've had a few exciting episodes. I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch any of the more recent ones. The first couple sucked. So
I've been running around recently, so I didn't catch those, but I believe you.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, I enjoy listening to yours when you post some things on the BFRO's page and let us know what you're doing. It's always great to hear the work you've been doing, and you're starting a channel as well, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I do have a YouTube channel, and I'm being very, very, what held me back from doing that for a long time was just the worry that if I set the bar to a certain high standard of content, then I wasn't going to be able to maintain that level predictably and consistently, because it's all based on when you get really good Class A reports in, and you just can't control that.
Right.
So, if I reliably had one kick butt Class A daylight, multiple witness sighting at least once a month. I mean, I'm saying better than your average Class A road crossing, like, multiple witnesses, daylights, then it would be different. But, sometimes it'll take a while. And so I would just rather have just a collection of the best ones. And so anyway, so it's not something I could kick out every week or every month. I mean, posting reports to the website and only, only so what, and how it is. We get in a bunch of reports. We only post a few of those to the website. And then I only take a few of those and to make a video out of for the channel. So you definitely get more info every month just going to the website, reading the stuff, rather than waiting to hear, because the only additional stuff I would add is you're hearing it straight from the witness on my channel, like hearing their voice talking about it, which is valuable. I mean, it completely changes the way you would evaluate and consider a report, how much you would determine it to be credible when you're hearing it straight from the person.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like when we do the follow-up investigation on reports that come into our areas, the ones that we assign to ourselves, we get to hear that, the conviction in their voices. If we're talking to them in person, we can actually see their body language. You know what I mean? Which helps us to
it's usually not too hard to, it's not too hard to figure out when they're telling you a tall tale.
And that's what I get that question all the time. They're saying, people ask, well, I said, we have to separate the fake ones from the real ones. I'm like, well, how do you know? And I just say, if you've been doing this a long time and talking to a lot of people, after a while, pretty quickly, because there is a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it longer than most of us, obviously, I want to jump a little bit prior to the Animal Planet Finding Bigfoot, because I know that our friend Todd Prescott on his channel, the Sasquatch Archives, recently posted an episode of Mysterious Encounters, a Cumberland Beast, if I recall. That was an episode you were on, as a matter of fact, right?
Well, I was in almost all of those episodes. So at Cumberland Beast, that was one of the few where you could actually see how much I was actually co-producing the show.
Right.
You know,
well, there was just some interesting. I found it to be a very interesting episode. I will say that because I used to get always upset with Monster Quest and some of the other shows because you think, well, how come they couldn't time their expedition better? You know what I mean? They're there when the weather's not so good. There's always so many things that would interfere with the results, But you guys were actually in Wisconsin, right? And there was a couple of devices used, like the Screech Blaster, right?
yeah.
A fancy name for a call blasting device, which I thought was kind of cool. And there was also the floatograph, which was an inflatable, basically, that lifted the thermal imager up, right?
Right. Yeah. So it was a thermal, and that was instead because we had tried. Remember somebody the Falcon project? The guy had the bright idea of like, let's put a thermal camera on a remote controlled blimp. And of course, and people were talking about the Falcon project. Oh, they're going to do this. Jeff Meldrum is involved. Ooh. And I remember writing back to say, hey, been there, done that.
Yeah.
I was say, we're going to put a thermal on a remote controlled blimp. And it's going to take you a few hours to realize that you're going to lose that camera and that blimp as soon as a little bit of a wind kicks up and blows that thing away into some trees. And so, it doesn't work. But what did work is to have one big balloon tethered to the ground,
right?
That would carry up a thermal, and it was stationary and it wouldn't blow away. And the brilliant design of that photograph thing is the balloon was shaped in a way, like really engineered well, shaped in like, I guess you would call it
almost like an egg.
It was shaped in a way where it was stable in the wind. It wasn't buffeting in the wind the way just a perfectly round balloon would be like kind of bouncing around in straight line winds. This would like catch those straight line winds like a kite, and it would create tension on the rope, and it would just hold right and not jerk around. And then we learned what the limitations is even with that. And the limitation is that you have to bring these giant tanks of helium around with you because you take that balloon out of the sky, you take it down and you eat dinner. And then you want to go fly it again. You blow another $100 worth of helium, filling it up again. So it's just like, all the brilliant like Coyote and Roadrunner ideas that people have, they've got limitations that they don't realize.
Some production design flaws is what you're saying. But
things that just make them that less convenient to use than you would think.
Right.
So like a balloon aerial is good. Yeah, but you gotta have big tanks of helium, which means you have to have them delivered and you have to have them brought in on a big ass truck. And it just so anyway,
it limits your ability. But I actually did hook up my thermal imager to my Phantom 4 drone on Nathan's expedition recently.
Great. Yeah. See, drone is better for thermal.
I was able to mount it onto the drone, but it did affect my ability to fly the drone as easily as I would have liked to because of the weight. But it worked. The issue came in with losing the connection between the phone and the therm, right? As far as recording went.
Okay.
I guess I could have just set it to record and then let it go and then reviewed the images later. That's
but you want to be able to guide the thing based on the live stream.
I want to be able to see if there's a target. You know what I mean? So
right.
I needed to practice a little bit more with it, so I've been practicing a little bit, and who knows? Maybe by the next expedition I'll have it worked out.
Well, I don't know if you saw what we showed in Ohio was the new system, the Mavic, the DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced,
right,
is now the cheap version of what had been like the Matrice 200 and Matrice 300, and those cost about $24,000. And then DJI, same company, comes out with one that's only $6,000
with thermal imaging,
with the same level quality of thermal.
Right.
Wow.
And so you've got the same capability for $6,000, what you would have been paying $24,000. And what's the only difference is in the length of time it can stay aloft, which is, that's important in some situations. Like the big expense, the matrices will stay up twice as long, which is important. And the big ones can fight the wind better. Like you can have winds, straight line winds that would knock you over, like 50-mile-an-hour straight line winds. And these things will totally hold position, like as if it's a full moon, just sit right there against some fierce winds. But it'll eat a battery power. And the reason it can do that is because when you fly it, you pedal to the metal, that thing will fly 50 miles an hour.
Right.
So it can hold still in the air when it's been fighting a 50-mile-an-hour wind.
Which is great. I mean,
yeah,
but you're going to go through batteries pretty quick. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're going through batteries quicker than you would, but it's still go ahead.
You were using the T-Vision app, right, to connect the thermal drone with the software you were using, I believe. T-Vision, I think it was called. With Rob Evans, right, at the Ohio?
No, the application he uses is called Drone Sense.
Okay.
And I mean, there's a lot of it. Each handheld thermal will have a different kind of app that will let you see the live feed straight, like via Bluetooth from the scope that go to your phone through Bluetooth.
That's right. T-Vision was what I'm using. I got confused. You're right.
Okay. So he has software that's the most sophisticated software. It's meant for search and rescue. So it feeds in on one master screen. You can pull in the feed from multiple drones if you want, multiple thermal drones, and then from multiple people on the ground who are running the app on their phone.
Okay.
And it'll show their position on a big map, show their position on the ground, and show where the drone is on the map. Like it's obviously above them, but it's like it shows its position. And then they can point it's amazing. They turn their phone and just merely aim it. And you can see on the map which way it's aiming. There's like a little round circle and it shows you which direction the phone is aiming. And then, of course, they can send in the video feed from their smartphone that's running the app. And amazing. So then, of course, what we were trying to figure out how to do is have people with their handheld therms feeding that signal back through Bluetooth to the phone, and then us then to be able to then project that back through drone sets. Because what we were doing in Ohio is sending it back to a conference room at the lodge,
right,
where this big audience was watching it all on a big screen. And so the only way we were able to do that, have the handheld on the ground, handheld thermal feed coming into the audience. And it was Charles Kimbrough, who's, of course, he's brilliant, especially with FLIR stuff.
Sure.
Just basically pulled up his handheld scope and put up like the viewfinder in front of his phone camera. So yeah, the phone camera actually pushed up next to the handheld scope instead of it feeding and having a nice feed come in through Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So that worked.
Charles is brilliant.
Yeah. So
we use Kimbrough audio, by the way, when we're out doing
all the time
recordings.
Oh, yeah. So so the drone in that case, that DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise Advance, cost like $6,500.
Okay.
And the software, the Drone Sense software, to license it for 1 year is $7,000.
Okay.
You know, can you imagine that? You're paying $7,000 per year.
License. Yeah.
Just for the license, just to use it for 1 year.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we want to do more of those gigs again, but we want to have, we're going to say Drone Sense, you know what? You're going to sponsor this next time because we're so promoting your software.
I was just going to say, what do we need to do to get them to sponsor and to cut a break on maybe a volume discount?
Yeah.
You know
Well,
I mean?
maybe they'll cut Robert Evans a deal for next year on the license, but it was super pricey.
And it was successful though. That was really, really cool.
And it did. And the key thing was being there a couple days early to test it all.
Right.
Which we did. And we went out a couple of nights, and then that helped us figure it out too, where we wanted to, because we're looking at it beforehand, figuring the places we wanted to go. And then of course maybe it's just with me more than other organizers. I'll look at a place, I think this is where we should go dinner. And then I'll get there and then I'll look around and drive around this, and I'm just like, no, it's the wrong place. We got to go over here, like a mile away or 2 miles away. We got to be at a better place.
Right.
And I think some people would, I think most people, would not do that or resist that, because if they've planned intimately and particularly and made even maps, quadrant maps for a particular target area, they're going to do that target area.
Right.
And no, I get there and I'm just like, no, I've looked at everything and I know we thought this one place would be better, but now that I'm here, I think this other spot, we have better odds. And that's the only thing that matters to me is, let's be in a place we've got the best odds to get some Squatch action.
Exactly, right. Which is what you want anyway.
Yeah.
But I asked you about the photograph initially because I wanted to bring up the point that during this episode on OLN, right, with Autumn, they dropped you off a mile away from base camp and they had you drag a sexual attractant chip behind you, right?
Yep.
For the hike back in the dark.
Yeah.
That, to me, that brings back memories of one of my favorite reports on the BFRO's website on the database. I forget the individual's name now. I think it was Dave something or other, but there's a report on there where this researcher was out there and he had set up a little tent, right? And he dragged a feminine, let's say a feminine hygiene product.
I know what you're talking about.
You know which report I'm talking about, right? And And as he's getting back, he's dragging and stepping on it occasionally along the way back to his campsite, right? Something comes up, a big male alpha squatch comes out and chases him up a tree, okay? Literally to the point where he's up on the tree and he uses his belt to make a loop around the top branch so he can stick his arm in to support himself. And this thing's trying to get up the tree at him and it's breaking branches in the process to get at him. You know, you remember this report? It's terrifying. I just can't even imagine, you know. And when I heard that you did this with the pheromone chip behind you, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, holy crap. And then they used the floatable to see, and there was like a red dot, which indicated a living, life form on the phone, right? Yeah. And you're like, well, where's the red dot in relation to me?
Right. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Nowadays, if we were to do that, if we had this drone sense, then the person who's in the field can just hold their phone up and they can see the video feed from the drone.
Right.
On their phone, they could see themselves in the picture and they'd be able to see where the other heat blips are.
Exactly.
And you'd be able to walk towards it or away from it.
Right. While looking at your phone.
Yeah.
So that's the world now, 20 years later.
Amazing, isn't it? How much the technology has gone from the time you got started to now, Yeah,
and it's becoming, it's not even a matter of technology advancing, it's a matter of becoming cheaper too. It's got to be, being out there, but too expensive might as well not be there.
And smaller and lighter. And
so we've been blessed in that we've always had people involved with us that could get for us the state-of-the-art stuff that's expensive. And so we have it before it starts getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Right.
And then when it gets cheaper, we would know what to recommend to other people.
And I guess we should plug the fact that BFRO now has a thermal imager, right? That you can go onto the website and purchase,
and we sell them for cheaper than anybody else. And that was really our drive, is we wanted to offer
a quality product.
Totally
reduced cost.
Right. Yeah. The one that would be very good in most situations, but still cheap enough to be affordable. And affordable for us, I've known that in my mind for a long time. It's like under $1,000 is like a big psychological difference there for a lot of people. Huge. I think it's psychological because the guys can convince their just if it's like over $1,000, somehow that 3 figures is just, or 4 figures it's an obstacle. Big threshold.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Heather, and she's always wanted to get me something like that, and when she'd hear the price tag $3,600 or $4,000, it's like, wow, that's a little too rich for my blood. You know what I mean? But
right. Oh yeah,
that's a lot of money to spend for a hobby.
Yeah,
for sure. But we do this. We take this as a little business, right? We actually are doing this as a little side business. But
to
supplement our camping enjoyment.
Yeah, well, it's like you can always go get those things. It's just a matter of do you want to have to hear the grief about it? Are you going to ever hear the end of it if you spend that much money?
Exactly.
And God forbid you lose it or it breaks. Oh,
then you're in trouble.
Yeah, then just like eternal punishment.
But no, it's funny. She asked me today what I want for Christmas. I'm like, just get me a track cast or something. I'm easy. So she goes on Cliff's website. They're all sold out, So
Yeah.
I said, I'd ask Matt, do you know any place I can is there some other source? Maybe you can tell me, off camera that I can.
Yeah. For track casts.
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
Cliff would be the guy. In fact, I did that Nori thing over the weekend and he had sent up 3 casts for that. And so he's got a whole track replication factory in his basement.
Yeah. He needs to get busy though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, I I've made a few myself, of course, and I got one from Cliff. This one is the Patty cast that I got from Cliff. Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And then on this side, I have the one from Walla Walla, Washington, right? From Dr. Meldrum. And so, I'd like to just add to my collection a little bit,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to go out and find some more on expedition. That's all.
You will.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the point.
Yes.
So what's on the horizon next for Matt Moneymaker?
Well, actually, right now I have to call back a reporter from Seattle who wants to do a story about Sasquatch Awareness Day.
Right. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think will be great if it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And so let's just put this after a message exchange this morning with the guy Tyrus on the Gutfeld show, who's
he's great.
Big fan of mine.
Love Tyrus.
He says he's never missed an episode of Finding Bigfoot. He's saying he's asking me if I'll come on that show on October 20th to talk about Sasquatch Awareness Day. You twist my arm, man.
Well,
yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, if you're going to be on the East Coast, then we definitely have to get together and go out with you too.
Okay. Well, that's right. I mean, it may end up just being because I've gotten flown out for stuff for news before, and it's like Upper West Side, and then you come out and the chauffeur takes you to the studio and then takes you back or takes you to dinner. And then they take you to Newark to the Delta Airlines first class, which has its own little area at the Newark airport. And that's where all the movie stars come in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
The Delta special.
Did you say Newark?
Out of Newark. Yeah.
Yeah. I ran into Geraldo Rivera last time I flew out of Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say, hey, Geraldo, can I get a selfie? Because Heather, my wife, is never going to believe I met you.
Oh, yeah. I bet he's cool. I went there one time and I sat right in back of Joan Rivers. Wow. And of course, when she would fly, she'd be in the first row, front of first class, and have both the seats on either side of her were
vacant. She
would buy them. They're vacant. Yeah. She doesn't just have a seat. She has a row in first class.
Mm-hmm.
But she was always, she was so impressive. She was, she looked like, that's the thing. I was doing a reality show and she was doing a reality show. And I'm thinking how hard it is, how grueling. And she's doing it. And she's the centerpiece. She doesn't even have the benefit of being able to blend into an ensemble and let them kind of take the lead. No, she's the centerpiece and she's in her 80s.
Yeah.
And still doing that. And she looks like $1 million.
Amazing.
And I'm like, oh my God, I was so in awe of her. And I had met her daughter years before. Her daughter was dating my volleyball player roommate at UCLA. And so, she actually was in my dorm room one time. It was a room we were renting in a fraternity that was half the rooms were empty. Anyway, so I got to meet her. Yeah, so I had met her, and so I was sitting with Joan, and so Joan was amazing. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. Newark, is the place they come in. And I'll tell you the inside. In California, they come. Most of the celebrities like to fly in and out of Long Beach Airport.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, to avoid the paparazzi, because I guess they have security people that are not going to let
in.
Yeah, not going to let the paparazzi kind of like.
Well, I've been all up and down the left coast, and I took what's that, Route 1? Or what's the name of this?
Yeah. Pacific
Coast, right?
Yeah, Pacific Coast Highway. In fact, I live a block from Pacific Coast Highway. So
right, and I took all the way from Oregon because I started in Washington, but from Eugene, Oregon, we headed west, got on the highway, went all the way down the coast down to San Francisco. So I've done the whole trip along that, and every turn is a Kodak moment, of course.
Yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't really thinking about Bigfoot, though. That's the bummer. So I drove through, Bluff Creek and all those areas, and never gave it much of a thought, except once when I went horseback riding in the redwoods. But hey, I still have my pillow from the Finding Bigfoot show that we did together.
Oh, look at that.
You guys all autographed it for me.
Yeah.
Cliff. And I got Matt there. See?
That's cool. Yeah.
I was fangirling you a long time ago.
Well, that's going to be a collector's item, because there's not many objects that have all 4 signatures.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's true.
And it's funny because Renee knew those things, whatever all 4 of us signed, would be particularly valuable someday.
Mm-hmm.
So she would come, we had you see that autograph card that's on your poster in back of you, that Finding Bigfoot. So when we were running out of those, she went and had 1,000 more made of that one. And she would bring those stacks of them when she, and she would beg and beg and beg for all the rest of us to sign those. So we would sit there for the longest time, just signing. And she would get autographs of all 4. And she would say, yeah, it's because the kids, people who are real fans, she wants to give them one that has all signatures. Mm-hmm. But she's also got a treasure trove of valuable all 4 signature things.
Wow. I feel pretty privileged now that I have. That's kind of unique, though. I brought the pillow with me to the town hall.
Oh yeah.
And afterwards got everybody's signature on it. So that was kind of smart on my part. But no, Heather had actually gotten Renee to send her that card for me for my birthday. So that was neat.
Oh, of course. You got it from Renee. There you go.
Hey, we had a great time. What can I say, And,
it
was a lot of fun to do the show. And it was kind of funny, though. That night you text me, you're like, oh, Spinner. That's a bummer. I didn't know you got, edited out. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. He goes, well, that's Hollywood for you. There's only 44 minutes in an episode. He goes,
Okay, wait, refresh me again.
On the South Jersey episode, I helped put the whole thing together with the producers.
And I remember them filming it. Are you saying they didn't include you at all?
I got in the town hall for about 15 seconds. I just said, I'm Eric Spinner from Bedford, and I got a road crossing. You know what I mean? But they edited out the interview Bobes and I did. Okay. Bobes wasn't on his A game at that point. Plus there was some road noise, right?
Okay.
At the end of the interview, I had to say to him, hey, Bobes, this is the part where you say, hey, welcome to the club. I think you saw a Sasquatch,
Yeah.
And even the producer's like, hey, you're pretty comfortable behind a camera. I said, yeah, I've been on before, And so everything went smooth. And then after we filmed mine, you guys handed me a radio, if you recall. And I took the cast and crew out to another area of the Pine Barrens to recreate Phil, the poacher's encounter.
Oh,
remember the?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some people that know Phil just came into my shop the other day. As a matter of fact, it was kind of funny. They were like, "Oh yeah," they were looking at my display, and then, we're friends with Phil. I'm like, no way. So it was kind of neat,
How funny.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So anyway, you had sent me some information from a guy who has he's a director at Pinelands Adventures down here, right?
Yeah.
And he's a new director, but in the past they've done Jersey Devil night hikes. So he reached out to you and you put him in touch with me, and we're going to be doing a Bigfoot night hike in a couple of weeks.
Okay, good.
So I told him I'd help out and take out the attendees for a couple of hours.
Well, I mean, I don't want you to say the name right here, but I'll just ask you whether you know a name.
Okay.
But would you know would a name come immediately to mind if I said would be the best creek that you could canoe down for a while, where you'd probably get action at night in the summer? Do you is there one particular creek that stands out more than the rest?
Yes.
Okay.
No doubt.
I won't ask you to say it, but I think I know which one.
Okay.
But yeah, that would be a good thing to do if you've got an outfitter type people.
And that's who it is.
Okay. Yeah. And especially if they've got canoes or kayaks and they can pick them all up.
And I have canoes. I have canoe and kayaks as well. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but on the New York expedition,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I actually got to do a night op on the water with 3 attendees, and we had a thermal hit.
Oh, cool.
2.5 minutes using my fireman therm, though. I didn't have recording capability on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I got the audio recorded, but not the visual. We had 2.5 minutes of an individual on the bank going like this, like he didn't know what to do.
Great.
Clearly seeing the arms and the legs. And then it glided up this hillside silently. And like, unbelievable. This is a 45-degree incline. And at the 2.5 minute mark, the gentleman holding the thermal says, I lost him. I'm holding the trolling motor, trying to keep the boat still. Okay. And 30 seconds after that, you hear a branch snap that's so loud. And Patty looks back at me and we both said, did you hear that?
Wow.
It was amazing. So I am definitely planning to do a water night op in New Jersey. Okay. So we'll talk more about the logistics on that. But this individual who I'm meeting with in a couple of weeks actually recently had an experience in the woods with his dog, and he heard samurai chatter.
Ooh.
Yeah. And when he described it to me, right, he thought it was like muttering at first, but when he described it to me, I went, you heard samurai chatter.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I've been out a couple of times now. Actually did fly the drone around the area also to get, a better idea. And there's been some other activity in there. So yeah, that potentially may result in us moving where base camp was last year. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
okay, good.
Again, trying some different things, seeing what works. But we've had some good success. And hey, connecting and networking with these people, that landowners, adventurers, you know what I mean? That's the kind of people we want to network with.
For sure.
Right. Oh, good.
Yeah. So, and I did say I'll let you know about the dates for Pennsylvania. I'm trying to kind of, bamboozle Nathan to work with me again on it, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I gotta wait till after February for sure. I can't do anything. I had I broke my back. I had back surgery, and I can't be doing too much right now. That's my problem.
And I respect that. You know that, Nathan. Absolutely.
Okay.
But I said to Terry, hey, Terry, you've done a couple of these now. We can co-organize and we'll swap wives that weekend. Okay.
How funny.
Yeah.
That's very modern.
Very modern.
Very modern. Yes.
Well, hey, anyway, I'm just making it funny, But I can't tell you though how much we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us tonight, Matt. It's and you told some things that I don't think have been on other shows or other episodes. You know what I mean? So I really feel like it's a special treat to have you talk about some of the things, like in the beginning with the whole what got you into it thing with the bookstore and everything. You know what I mean? That's right. Really cool. So yeah, I'm very thankful that you agreed to come on and share your experiences with us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And hey, if
I realize it's important for me to do that because what a typical example, and people some people don't believe this, but it's really true, which is that I have not seen every episode of Finding Bigfoot. Most of the time when they were coming out and airing on TV, like on those Sunday nights, we were out in the woods shooting other episodes. So we didn't get to see the first run. And so there's many episodes that I've never seen. And by the same token, A Mysterious Encounter, that precursor series, I haven't seen all those episodes either. So the Cumberland one that he showed me, and I had never seen that before.
I never did either.
And I was watching it going, oh my God. And then it's stuff like that I'm going, my God, how many, trips have I totally forgotten about? Right. And here's one that I just was completely, only when I started watching again, did the memories start coming back. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, and that's only a small fraction of all the expeditions, because those are just the ones that were filmed for a TV show.
Right.
And so I just stick back and I'm just like, the only thing that allows me to have a sense of how many times and places I've done that is just by looking at the map and going, oh yeah, I've been this county, that there. And then since I know I've been there and I know I did something there, I knew it weren't just driving through. We were out in the woods, and then little bits and pieces will come back. But yeah, watching that Cumberland episode, I was like, it took me a while for that to just open up the memories about that particular trip.
Yeah.
And what it looked like where we were camping and the other people that we met. And anyway, but
you're in Dogman territory there though, right? I mean,
I guess so. But there's a lot of stuff that happens in that part of Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, the reason I threw that out there, we're actually going to have a witness on, hopefully in another week or two, that had a Dogman encounter during daylight hours while riding his bicycle. Yeah. So, I'm a Bigfoot guy.
Okay.
I'm a flesh and blood, believer, and so I'm open to all other possibilities, of course, but this is going to be interesting. So
yeah,
we're looking forward to.
I wish you the best with it, and I won't be so arrogant as to say that I know for sure that any legitimate, credible sightings of things that were then called dogmen later were probably actually Bigfoots. If they were anything, they were Bigfoots, and they're just misinterpreted. So I won't be arrogant enough to make that suggestion because I know I don't know everything. But what I can say is every quote unquote dogman witness that I applied my investigative and interrogative skills to, it didn't take long before it was clear to me that they were making it up, but not that I've talked to every single one of them.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because I'm going to piss off the New Jersey viewers when I say that's what I think about with the Jersey Devil, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're having this is a folklore that's been perpetuated over the years due to people having encounters with Bigfoot out in the forest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always held to that belief. But hey, we're talking about an as of yet undiscovered primate, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We're like, it's not going to be, the battle between cryptids of which more real than other.
Right.
And lastly, just because you just brought up cryptid, I hope that you weren't upset with me for setting that whole thing up with Dixie Cryptid, because I know Cameron really.
Oh, no. It worked out well. It did. I was happy with the end product.
Good. Because he values your friendship. And you know what? You coming on actually enabled him, I should say, to kind of change his channel to become what he wanted it to be all along, where he's just telling stories, but not limited to only Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Yes, right.
And so now he does telling some other, paranormal and ghost and dogman and other types of stories as well. And he said, you know what? The Bigfoot community, he says, they're really tough. He says, it's got to be a certain way, or they come at you, and there was, of course, a lot of negativity at first, right?
Oh yeah, and but it gave me a chance to kind of explain that whole phenomena of, right. And that's why the good analogy was, it's like the police commission meeting. It's like you have a meeting open to the public for people to come down to give their comments, like comments in a YouTube video, but give their comments about the police. Right? It's like, what are you going to get? You're going to get the angry people who are, a lot of them are probably on probation, and they're coming down and they're shouting and they're making noise, creating an impression that the police are all bad. Because the majority of the people who like the policing, who like what they're doing, they're not coming down and shouting like the ones who are on probation and parole, and they can't buy drugs, so they're pissed.
Exactly. And you know what? It's kind of funny because we had set it up for us all to be on with you at the time. And then, of course, who knew that the storm was going to come through and take out, Cameron's power at his house, right?
Yeah.
So he got blown off. You had some time.
Oh, it was fortunate that I was I totally got the time frames mixed up.
I know.
And I was at the beach at that point, not knowing I was supposed to be on the air. And I was ready to come in, start exactly 1 hour. It would have been exactly 1 hour late. And then I'm on the way there and I found out, oh yeah, tornado killed it. But it gave me a chance to speak to Cameron beforehand.
Right.
And I could explain just the negativity, did it all this Banshee BFRO. I said, yeah, you start digging into it and you'll find out that all of that is the result of comments they heard on other YouTube channels.
Right.
Not any direct experience with
Not
us.
even directly. I know.
It's just there's a lot of people who are powerless and on the outside and not connected who want to make it look as though they know the inside scoop.
Right.
And the only way they can make sure that, make it sound like the inside scoop is to say, oh yeah, that person sucks, he's bad, I've heard this and that. And again, it's just this vanity thing to make it look like they know something, and really they don't know shit.
And it's all hearsay.
Yeah.
All
and so
hearsay.
I just say, okay, can you tell me what it is that, well, I've just heard and where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like, you know what? Kiss my ass and get out. You're contributing. You're a nobody, and you're contributing nothing except your blather in the comments section of a YouTube video. You're just dirt. I flick pieces of dirt like you off my shoes every day. Just shut up.
I fart in your general direction.
Yeah. These are not people.
Perfect.
I mean, and that's why he was making clear. He said, yeah, are any of these people who have this shit to say people who even have ever met anybody from the BFRO, have ever been on an expedition, have ever been a witness of content? No. Right. These are people who listen to that idiot Steve in Canada and listen to him. And he, of course, talks crap because he wants people to send their reports to him as instead of us.
Right.
So it just makes him so mad that he can't become the king just by talking crap and lying about everybody else. But I just guess what? That's what his whole deal. After a while, people get turned off by the negativity.
Right.
So they hear some demagogue trying to go up and say, yeah, these people are just they don't want you to know the truth. In other words, they don't want to post bullshit reports. So yeah, they don't want you to know the truth. And it's all going to come out and just all this big talk. And people get sick of it. They realize he's full of shit. And the only ones left who are still going to look at him as some kind of a respectable figure, the only ones left are just the true idiots.
And you make a good point there.
I often said that everybody just dislikes you because you're good at what you do. That's normally what happens. If you're any good at what you're doing, people are going to hate you for
or
it.
are you just becoming known for I mean, you might not even have to be good at it, but if you're famously associated with something and you have an open mic says, yeah, what do you think about this person?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just like you're gonna, most people don't have anything to say because they don't know about whatever person you're asking about.
Yep.
That's some people who are literally, they're like powerless nobodies who want to feel like they're powerful somebodies. But how do you do that? Well, you talk crap anonymously.
Yeah, there you go.
And that satisfies something in them. And again, just scratch the surface. And that's why I told them, I said, each and every one of those people who has something bad to say about the BFRO, if I had them sit there and I was asking them, where does this come from? What do you think? And just within 30 seconds, you'd realize that they're just lying, jealous dummies. And
I've had more than my share of people on expeditions say those things like, this is what I expected to happen. I didn't think it was going to be a good time. All these different things that they expected and none of it, they can't believe how good a time they have and how professional everything is.
Yeah. And how they probably had been told that it's going to be a snipe hunt and,
Yep.
And
we plant people out in the woods to throw things at the attendee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we don't know what they're doing. We're just out there making noise and it just scares them away. It's like, oh yeah. How do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
So when people go coyote hunting and they blast coyote sounds, does it scare the coyotes away? No, it's like, no, that's how you hunt coyotes.
You attract them. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, you posted the upcoming, new expeditions, right? On Facebook on the page. And there were some comments made on there and I wound up responding to a couple. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey,
and when the comments are, I could tell if they're not fair criticism, but they're just for the point because some people they can't afford to do it.
Yeah,
they can't $300, as if that's not the cheapest vacation they would have ever had. They still can't do it. $300. That's a lot of money. It's like, oh, I guess and I hear that I'm like, I guess you've never gone on vacation anywhere in your entire life.
That's why we call camping the poor man's vacation.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh yeah, exactly. So they're all complaining about it. Just like, yeah, well, you know what? You couldn't afford to go on anything. So you just kind of don't qualify. And then I'll just remove those comments. It's just whining by people who can't participate anyway. It's just like, they probably wouldn't be able to come even if we would make it free. You know
what? Where's the incentive there? Honestly, I find that to be the case even with nutritional supplements. If somebody doesn't put out some type of outlay for what they're doing, they're not going to appreciate it anyway.
Right.
It gives it
Oh,
value.
yeah.
You know
Oh, yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
We'd have people coming. If we made it free, we'd have people coming and then complaining that they didn't get their value out of it.
Yeah.
For free.
Seriously.
It does filter out just the whining, heckling dregs.
Yeah.
And you just get a better group of people.
So in closing, I will say that I was one of the fortunate organizers who actually did have the appearance of Matt on one of my expeditions, the first one. I said, so I'm thinking, maybe you're due for another visit to the East Coast.
I'd love to. I'd love, especially New Jersey.
I know you don't let people know which expeditions you're going to attend, but I'm hoping you're going to keep us in your.
Well, I'll tell you that I expect to have another sponsor soon that's going to allow me to go around and do droning at all the expeditions.
Well,
nice.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, people say, "Are you? When's your next TV show?" They think I'm going to do another TV show. And I'm thinking, man, if I can go squatching and not have like a camera crew following me all around, I would be perfectly happy going back to doing that.
Okay,
as long as I had if I had a thermal drone, I could get footage myself that way. Yeah, then I would do that instead.
Well, we'll definitely, between Nathan and I, we'll put you in the right place with a thermal drone. So
okay.
All right.
Very good.
So at least we got that much. I wanted to get some kind of commitment out of you that, we got you.
You're going to see me out there again, and I will be equipped to really help out.
Nice. Well, I look forward to that day.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay.
Oh, this has been awesome, Matt. And I think we might have to do a 2-part thing, Nathan, because we've talked to Matt for so long, but hey, we'll have to do it again at some point. And when you do make this happen with the drones and the footage and everything coming out on expedition with us, we'll be able to film it and really do a good job with presenting that.
Yes.
In the proper manner. Okay.
That is the plan.
Awesome. Hey.
Okay.
I want to thank all our viewers and people who have stuck with us this long. I hope you enjoyed hearing our podcast tonight, and don't forget to share and like. And don't forget to support our friends at YetiBars.net. Go on and use STP10 in the checkout. Put in the code and get 10% off your order. I'm just doing our little closing thing here, but we are thrilled to have had Matt Moneymaker, president and founder of the BFRO and star of Animal Planet's hit series Finding Bigfoot, with us tonight. So again, Matt, thanks very much, and we look forward to seeing you on the trails real soon.
That's right.
And I thank you, both of you guys. Do a good job.
Thanks for squatching.
All righty.
And that's how we usually close it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a good time, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. I was looking
Heather,
at
come down and say hi to Matt.
I was looking at the hello. How are you?
Oh, she can't hear you. Here, he said hello.
Hello.
Come here, honey. Come around.
No.
Oh, you're decent.
Oh, I can hear her. Hi.
She says she's not decent. She's getting a haircut.
Oh, she's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love you.
Love you, Nathan.
No matter what anybody says, we've always got your back and the BFRO's back. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
I hope anyway that you've been happy with our performance as organized.
Oh yeah, very much so.
It was good.
Very much so.
Cool. Wow. This has been a lot of fun. Nathan?
Yeah, I had a good time.
I'm sorry I kept you up so late. I know.
That's all right.
All right. But
yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on, Matt.
Very good. Well, I appreciate what you guys do too. And when I have something more to share, we'll do it again.
All right. That sounds great.
check out our Squatchelvania episode. And I have it on Spotify too. You don't have to watch our mugs. You can actually listen to it.
Okay.
All right.
I will do that.
Give our regards to Dorota. Stay safe and stay well. And I'll contact you in the next day or two with the dates for PA. I know you want to get them on. Okay.
No problem, man.
Thank you.
All righty. Talk to you later.
All right. Good night.
That's the reason why I don't want to.
Lost audio.
Just lost your audio.
What?
Yeah,
there you are.
You're back.
Okay.
And you can see us okay, right? We're showing up on your video.
Yes, I could see you just fine.
All right, cool. Yeah, cut out for another second there right after I asked if you could see us.
That's because I had muted it for a second so I could cough without blowing your ears out.
Thank you.
There you go.
Very considerate.
He didn't he wasn't on. It was just his voice.
It was just his picture, his avatar. Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's what Dixie got.
I'll take it.
We'll take it, right? Yeah, that was awesome. That first part with the whole bookstore, the book thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's known that story.
No.
I gotta pee. I gotta pee like a racehorse, man.
We gotta eat.
Oh, I gotta pee like a racehorse. I'm clutching.
Just go. Go.
Hello.
That was pretty neat. Matt really went on a rant there at the end.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bitching about everybody.
I knew when Matt was talking because it got real quiet. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I hope Nathan gets a word in.
I got more in than I thought I was gonna. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just excited, man. This is, like I said, this is a great way to kind of bring season 2 to an end.
Yeah, I'd split it into two segments and call that season 2.
And call it season 2, and then bring Dixie Cryptid on to introduce season 3.
Season 3. Yeah.
How's that?
That sounds
and then
good.
by then we can work on Dan and have the dog man thing.
Perfect. That's a great idea. Yeah. He made some interesting comments, that, like I said,
he did.
We've got some material here that nobody else has.
No. And he committed to going Squatchin with us. So.
And I got him to commit. Yeah.
When's he coming out?
Well,
yeah, no, that was a positive thing.
I thought it was fun. And and the questions he answered honestly and animated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His usual self. And he seemed to have a good time. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think we covered pretty much everything
on your list, right?
I got everything on my list.
I was getting ready to start going into weird shit, so it was good you stopped.
Oh, okay. I won't ask.
Yeah. No, like I just watched a show on myths and monsters, and the whole Slender Man thing comes to mind, the whole mass. I mean, but you got to remember, even like King Arthur, that's where it started with this thing that I'm watching.
Okay.
Camelot, King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
That's like the mother of all myths. Is it true or isn't it? They can only find like 1 or 2 references to any King Arthur.
I watched something recently about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime right now.
Okay.
Probably where you saw it.
That's a different show that you're watching.
No,
I watched something on the History Channel that was very
okay.
I know what you're saying though. It's like, is it some sort of mass hallucination? Right.
Yeah. And what part of it's fiction now? Because like even with the King Arthur thing, there's a point where it was fact, and then because it's only orally passed along,
right?
It's only been stories, so it changes. It whisper down the lane always changes the story. So how much of it is? This is where I wanted to go with Matt. How much of it he thinks is true? Oh,
listen, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for putting up with us. Okay.
Love you, Nathan.
Love you too, guys.
Papa.
Talk to you soon.
I'm going to bed.
Good night. I'm gonna go eat.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Squatch Talks Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and give us a like, and stay tuned for more exciting stories on Squatch Talks.